Hello and welcome to Soul in Balance. My name's Alicia and I'll be bringing you a report on the full moon in Virgo. That'll be happening on the 20th of February at 2:53 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So the major theme of right now is letting go of everything that doesn't align with us anymore. So that means our old habits, our old patterns, how we relate in relationships, how we relate to ourselves. It really is a closing time, a time of ending cycles. And with the full moon in Virgo, it's about clearing up, sorting out, using discernment so we can move into the future and be our highest potential, be our infinite potential, and using that potential to be of service on this planet. So stay tuned and I'll bring you the report. Alrighty, so full moon in Virgo. Virgo is all about using our discernment, clearing everything up, sorting it out, and how we can be of service on this planet. It's all about our health, it's all about goals, it's all about being out in nature and using natural medicine. Virgo is known as the wheat maiden. So at this time, we really need to be implementing how we can sort out our lives, how we can put it into order, how we can get rid of the dead branches that aren't serving us anymore. And we also need to be at this time releasing all the negative side of Virgo, which is being too critical, worrying too much, being really negative, being judgmental. We really need to not be doing that to ourselves and to other people, and releasing the need to control even in some way. And it's really important at this time that we understand the polarity point, which is Pisces, which is the ether, which is the universe, which is our the soul realms and our highest potential, our infinite highest potential. And we need to be implementing that into this full moon and our drive forward and the direction that we are going. So to release the negative parts of Virgo, well, they're not necessarily negative, but they're the parts that need to be released at this time so we can be our highest potential, so we can realize that we are a soul and bring this down into our reality. We're not stuck in a box. We're not our conditioning, we're not even our own imposed conditioning, that we are these infinite beings, and we really need to understand that and use that in a way to be of service. And at this full moon, it will be joining the royal fixed star Regulus, and Regulus is all about regulating and making it in good order. So we really need to be regulating what's working for us, what's in alignment with us, and putting what we're doing into good order, putting it into good order for ourselves and out into the universe and in our lives. And we have had the eclipses, and everything that we learned at the eclipses, we really need to be sorting out and putting into our lives, finding a place for it to work. So yeah, at this time, it really is a time to just be sorting out, using discernment, hard work even. It really is a time for setting goals and working on our health, our emotional health, our mental health, our physical health, every single aspect in a holistic approach. So it's definitely a time for hard work, but then realizing that we are a soul. We aren't just our reality, a human being on this planet. We have so much potential. We can do anything that we want to do. We just have to set our mind to what we want and our passions and where we want to go. Get out of this prison, this self-imposed prison from society or our parenting or ourselves. Just get it all off, and let go of the guilt that's attached to that. Let go of the worry and feeling like you're not of service because you're not doing what everyone else is doing, because you're not doing what society says is of service. You need to be doing what's of service to you and what you believe of service is. So the best thing to do at this time is to go to your own birth chart and see where 0 degrees of Virgo is, specifically what house, because that will show you what area of life you really need to be letting go and making changes and putting in some order, putting in some discernment. But as a collective, and at this time, if we look at it from a collective perspective, it really is a time for sorting out our health. You know, stop eating those foods that you know make you sick. I know me personally, I found this new pizza place and it is the best pizza I've ever had in my entire life. But unfortunately, every time I eat it, it makes me so sick. So last week, it was just like, I just had to say goodbye to this amazing pizza because my health comes first. I can't be feeling sick. I can't have no energy and, you know, feeling down about life because I feel sick, because our stomach directly affects our brain. Inflammation on the stomach lining causes depression. So it's really important that if there's something in your life that you know majorly affects your health, if you know it affects your mental health, your emotional health, that you need to be letting go of that. It could be, you know, letting go of an addiction to some food. It could be letting go of smoking. It could be letting go of drinking. You know, you could get home from work and have a wine and that ends up being a bottle of wine. I don't know what your circumstances are, but it really is a time to be focusing on our health. And if you do have any health issues, you know, go and seek natural therapies. And understanding our mainstream Western medical concepts do not work on a holistic approach. It is classed as sick care. So it helps you cope with being sick, and the side effects of sick care, you know, it's just out of control. It's usually in most cases worse than the actual main element that you're treating. So at this time, really consider, you know, what other, you know, health modalities you can have a look into. What old food practices can you let go of? Because our health is such a major aspect of our lives, and with this full moon in Virgo, it really is a helping hand to help us let go of these old habit patterns around our health. So just before this full moon, we will have Chiron moving back into Aries. So Chiron moved into Aries last year and then it went back into Pisces. Now, if we think about it, Pisces is like the collective womb, and we see Aries as the start of the zodiac, so it's like the baby of all the signs. So then when we have a look at our collective soul wound, so where all of us are wounded as a collective, you know, and then moving back into Aries, it really is a time of learning self-worth and understanding our desires and having a new outlook on our desires. So what we've been facing the last couple of weeks is our old habit patterns, our old way of operating. It could be from lifetimes, it could be what's, you know, what we understood this lifetime, how we've been conditioned, what we think connecting to ourselves is. So realistically, it has been really intense, and we've really had to address all our old stuff and let it go. And because it has been at the critical degree, 29 degrees of Pisces, it has been in a way making us look at everything, look at all the past situations that we've needed to clear, especially around May, June, July last year, of what, you know, whatever circumstances were happening at that time, we're really having to reflect at this time what they are. And you know, you might find even in yourself that you're wanting to go back to that time, or you might be wanting to just completely get the hell out of there. But it's really important that we keep looking forward and not want to go back, because there's nothing about May, June or July 2018 that you want to implement into your life forward. You might feel like, you know, it's something that you want to hold on to, it's something that helped you grow. But if you think about it from a perspective, say, of a butterfly, like as a caterpillar goes into a cocoon and then it turns into a butterfly, and then focusing on that cocoon, wanting to keep that cocoon was there so you could transform. And it's understandable you have a connection with that old cocoon, but you need to focus on being a butterfly. You need to focus on what new aspects there are about your life. Your life has completely changed, and there's nothing about 2018 that you need to be bringing forward. A lot of 2018 was a massive lesson, and we all had to let go of so much. We all had to realize how we were operating, and, you know, understanding that a lot of the way that we operate is something that we've been conditioned to do for such a long time. It could even be from past lives as well, and it really is a time to be letting go of that now. And the same applies for Uranus, that will be moving back into Taurus on the 8th of March. So realistically, these two aspects are working together. Uranus and Chiron are having the same activity, moving in and out of these planets, you know, in correlation with each other. So we evolve, so we have a look at a higher perspective, so we can get some universal understanding while also healing old wounds and letting go of old patterning. And, you know, at this time, we really do need to be reflecting on what is important to us, who we really are, healing our individual wound, where we've been wounded as an individual, where we've felt like we've had no self-worth, or we weren't allowed to have our desires, or we couldn't have needs. We need to be healing that primal need within ourselves and understanding that we have value, and we don't have to put our value on others. Like, how other people see us, how society sees us, does not determine our worth. And for those who have codependency issues, or those who are broken empaths, you know, this is a time for really coming into your truth, really having that self-love and self-value. And this type of thing is really going to drive those people that have narcissistic personality out, because they're going to have no people to, you know, get energy from. Because codependent people and people that are broken empaths, they just want to go and help and, you know, give their energy out to other people and avoid what's going on in their own internal dynamics, because they don't believe they have value. So then they go to a narcissist, and a narcissist teaches them that, hey, you need to value yourself, because I'm not going to value you. I'm not going to do anything for you. I'm not giving you my energy, and I'm, you know, you're nothing to me, pretty much. So at this time, over the next 8 years, we're going to see people that have issues with codependency, or people that are empaths and aren't functioning to their highest potential. They're going to start loving themselves. They're going to start honoring their desires. So, you know, all these narcissists or people that kind of vibrate at a lower frequency or run by entities, so to speak, they're just going to have no options, and hopefully they start to face their own demons and start to love themselves as well. That's obviously the idea of everything that's going on right now. But I do believe that narcissists and narcissistic dynamics are playing out for a reason, that we do have people that are empaths and light workers being of service. And I also believe people that, you know, are narcissists or sociopaths and things like that also are of service. Like I've said in my previous healing videos, I don't believe that massive change and healing comes from love, peace and harmony. I think it comes from, you know, that radical, you know, terrible circumstances that forced you to change, because you've got no way to survive but to change. And that's what these lower frequency beings bring out. I know there's a lot of people that believe narcissists are just terrible and they shouldn't be here, but every dynamic has a purpose. And at this time, we're really going to be starting to come in and see our worth. And as there won't be so much potential victims for narcissists coming up the next 8 years, it might actually help them evolve as well. So at this full moon, we will have Venus, the goddess of love, relationships, the feminine, money and creativity, sandwiched in between Saturn in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn. So what does that mean? Venus will be maturing. She'll be maturing and growing and gathering wisdom from Saturn, going through restrictions. So if something is blocking your creativity or blocking your money or blocking your relationship, that is where you need to focus your time and energy on. Are you living in your highest potential in that area? You know, addressing your relationships. Are they evolving? So realistically, we need to understand that Saturn is the taskmaster. It is asking us to evolve and have, you know, more wisdom and a higher perspective, asking us to mature. So we could also be seeing that our relationships are growing and becoming more stable, becoming more committed. Or it's asking us to, if you're single, say, it can be asking us to change the way we operate in relationships, let go of our old conditioning and mature and have more healthy and aligned relationships. And then Venus will be hitting Pluto, which is the god of the underworld and also death and rebirth and transformation. So realistically, everything that Venus has been learning and understanding will just die and end, and then be like the phoenix that rises from the ashes and have a new perspective of love and structure in romance, and understanding that creativity and money and all those things are aligned with us. We just need to have it aligned with ourselves. And I've noticed something really amazing within myself. If I'm not being aligned, I see birds that are flying like not in alignment. They're kind of, you know, in a weird angle, or they're far away from each other. But when I'm in a really aligned state with my passions and my creativity and, you know, being in alignment with my worth, I see birds flying in exact alignment, and it's absolutely amazing. It really is amazing how our external world will show you what your internal dynamics how they're operating and how they're going about, because what goes on within goes on externally. So at this time, we're really going to see a massive change in our relationships and how we are operating in relationships. It's going to be a massive death and rebirth. So we could see ending of relationships, or we could see relationships moving to the next level of commitment. So it really is, you know, only you can determine, you know, where that perspective is for you. But yeah, just be aware that this is going on, and there might be some massive intensity with relationships. It really is going to, you know, shake us up, especially because in Capricorn, it's about structure and how our relationships are structured. So there might be a total clean out of your relationship dynamics at this time. So what's going on with Mercury? Mercury, the planet of communication, connection, our day-to-day travel, pretty much our everyday life connections, is meeting up with Neptune in Pisces. And that is seen as the cosmic womb, our collective, you know, our conscious collective. It's also our most vulnerable place. Neptune is like the spirit realms, and, you know, where we get universal information, our past patterns, you know, past lives, all that type of stuff. And yes, they will be joining together at this new moon. And on the 19th of February, Mercury goes into its shadow phase, just as it does just before the retrograde. So it really is a very interesting time, and this retrograde in Pisces is going to be pretty intense. But for the moment, it will be joining Neptune, and that is connecting to the spirit realms, universal information, bringing it down into our reality and in our connections. And it is making aspects out to Saturn, that is with Venus and Pluto. So they are all working together and connecting with a sextile. So at this time, it is an easy aspect. So realistically, with a little bit of effort, we can connect to our highest soul potential in relationships, in our structures. And it's also about understanding that we have cosmic connections with everyone. And at this time, we could could be seeing new cosmic connections coming into our lives that help bring us into the new. It could also be karmic relationships that are coming through as well, but it is supported by Saturn. It's about bringing that universal information into our structures, into reality, and that also correlates with this full moon as well, as we need to be bringing that universal information into our services. So realistically, the best thing to do is to connect to the information that's coming through. Write it down if you're not someone that's good at remembering, and then when you've got a spare moment, go into that stuff, go into those, you know, conversations that you're having in your mind, or the information that's coming through, or something that you've maybe seen on social media that really connects with you. So it really is a time to be paying attention to little signals, or, you know, little, you know, things that come through at the moment, because it all is, you know, bringing up what we need to be doing right now. And in a way, it really is helping us to be what we need to be at this time. But I want to quickly add on that, that sometimes with Mercury in Neptune and with Pisces, if we're wanting to escape reality, we can go into states of illusions and delusions, because we're not wanting to deal with the harshness of reality, the harshness of our situations. So we could go into our daydreams and, you know, what we'd like to happen, our fantasies, and, you know, we could be implementing that into our relationships and our structures. And that is, you know, a very dangerous aspect, because we are, you know, in the fog and we're not thinking clearly, or, you know, connecting clearly. So it could be, you know, when Venus then hits Pluto, we could just have this, you know, absolutely, you know, radical awakening of what the hell, I was living in a fantasy this whole time. You know, I've been wanting all these aspects, but not realizing it's not the reality of situations. So, you know, we could have, like I said, you know, massive endings of relationships that, you know, that you were just fantasizing about, what you wanted your relationship to be, not actually what it was. So sometimes we can see, you know, Neptune as like this rude awakening, like, oh my God, I've been living in a fantasy for so long and not realizing that, you know, this isn't what was really going on. So yeah, be careful of that. You know, make sure that you're constantly bringing what you're seeing and feeling and wanting into reality. If it doesn't fit into your reality, then it's just not aligned with you, then you need to let it go, because Pisces is ending. It's ending cycles, it's ending patterns, it's ending what doesn't serve us anymore from, you know, a human perspective and from a spiritual perspective. So yeah, really pay attention at this time as to what's coming up for you. So we've had Mars go into Taurus, and oh my God, Mars joining Uranus was absolutely radical. There was such a push to go forward, moving to our highest potential, be in true alignment, and, you know, look at things from such a radical perspective, look at things from an universal understanding. But now that Mars is in Taurus, it's about implementing that, doing the work, putting one foot in front of the other, you know, making it part of our self-worth and what we're doing, what we're wanting to be of service to others. So it can be a bit more of a downtime now with Mars out of Aries. I know myself, I've definitely felt it when Mars was in Aries. I was just running around doing all these things, getting up at 5 a.m, exercising, and, you know, smashing out all these things I needed to do. But soon as Mars hit Taurus, it's just like, huh? I don't want to get up early. I just want to stay in bed longer, or I don't really feel like leaving the house today, or yeah, I'm just going to do this when I feel like it. So yes, it is a massive change in our energy right now. So if you're feeling like, whoa, I just want to just be where I am and be happy, it is completely understandable. Just know that there is that change in energy, but it is asking us to find our self-worth, asking us to do things that make us feel good. So yes, at this time, understand that this is going on. So also at this time, we have Mars and Uranus, which is an out of sign conjunction, which is making aspects out to the sun and to the moon. So it's making a sextile out to the sun and a trine out to the moon. So that is really highlighting that radical change that we need to be implementing at this time. Really understanding that we need to categorize, understand, let go of the old and move into our self-worth, move into who we are really needing to be, and looking at it from a place of, you know, self-empowerment and not needing external validation, just needing to feel our own self-worth and understanding within ourselves, and understanding being in that place is of service to others, because it helps other people come from that place as well. Because the more we are all, you know, living our truth, the more other people will understand that and join that. It's, you know, we're all connected. We all live on a planet and in a universe where we are all one. We all have one consciousness. So the more people that step into their power, step into their self-worth and their individuality, the more this is going to help this process, and especially when it comes to being of service. So yes, at this time there is a lot of dynamics that are really just pushing us to be of service, connect to our higher realities, and come into a place of truth within ourselves. So I thought I'd do a card reading for this full moon in Virgo to give us a little bit of help, and you know, what we can kind of fall back on if things really aren't working, or maybe it could be a card for motivation or just a little bit of a helping hand at this time. So I'm going to use the Sacred Rebel deck that I had in my last video, so I'll just wait till a card falls out. So yeah, at this time I'm not going to do Sabian symbol for this full moon, as I just feel like it's too technical for right now. But yeah, hopefully a card will come out soon. Oh, I've got a few. There's 3. Okay. So we've got Beyond the Mind, the Heart Beats. We've got Listening for Truth. And Relax the Hold of Darkness and Be at a Cause. Okay, they were pretty cool. But I'll go over what they all mean. So I'm not going to read what these cards mean from the book, because there is a lot of information and I'm highly dyslexic, so I'd rather just give you my interpretation of what these cards mean. So we've got Beyond the Mind, the Heart Beats. So when we can let go of that Virgo critical mind, always analyzing, always putting things into categories, and you know, I understand why Virgos do that. I understand why they're so pedantic, but at this time we're really needing to let go of that. And it's saying, you know, beyond the mind, the heart beats, and to come into our heart, come into our passions, have compassion for others, and follow our heart's desires. When we follow our heart's desires, we really can't go wrong. When we're being too critical, we're restricting ourselves and we're becoming negative, and we're kind of going off course. We're not going to the vibration that we need to be going. And the next card we've got is Listen for Truth. Now, I think that really kind of correlates with, you know, Mercury connecting to Neptune and listening to our higher truth, and also with Uranus going into Taurus and Chiron going into Aries. It really is about listening to our truth, who we really are. We are a soul with infinite potential. We are not just a human being in our constrained and, what would you say, imprisoned beliefs that we've been told by society and those in power. We have we have so much potential to do anything we want to do, but we just have to believe in ourselves. We just have to have our external reality aligning with our internal reality. So if we don't believe we are worth anything, if we don't think we deserve good things, or we don't deserve a good relationship or money, or, you know, to have success, then we're going to constantly see that in our realities. And this is where we need to just keep bringing it back, like changing our internal dialogue, dialogue, like saying to yourself, yes, I deserve what I want. I deserve what I want because I deserve it and because I say so. And also give reasons. I deserve what I want because I can help people. I deserve what I want because I want a better life. Like really start changing that internal dialogue, or even saying to yourself, I'm so loved. Everybody loves me. Everybody supports me. And the more you can connect to that truth, you know, the more we're gonna, you know, be that highest potential that we need to be right now, you know, and moving forward in our lives on this planet, because we all really need to be evolving and changing these dynamics that are going on. And for the last card, relax the hold of the darkness and be at a cause. So be at a cause, I again see that as Virgo, because Virgo is about being of a cause, being of service, letting go of that dark critical side. It could be, you know, ending a relationship with a narcissist, letting go of these old toxic dynamics within yourself and externally. But also know that that narcissist, if there is one in your life, that they are here making you see this stuff. Like they're only matching your internal dynamics. They come from a state of lack and you're in a state of lack, and you're a vibrational match. It's not because life's unfair and, you know, all these shitty circumstances happen to you. It's because that's a vibrational match to you. And hey, you might have had stuff happen in your early childhood which made you be that low frequency or have those internal beliefs, or it could be something from a past life that made you have these internal beliefs. But it's now time to be empowered and to change that stuff, turn it around, start nurturing yourself from the inside. And it's like a tree. If you look at it, our spiritual journey is like the aspects of a tree. The branches that reach out to the universe and collect spiritual knowledge. We all want to be one with source. We all want to connect to our highest potential. But the major part of that tree is the root system. And if we're not nurturing that root system, like it's just like turning away from your, you know, pain or trauma or things that, you know, where you need to nurture yourself. You know, those branches aren't going to reach to the sky. Those branches aren't going to reach to the universe and your highest potential. So realistically, it's like you seeing a tree that needs to be watered, or it's not in the right soil, or it's not in the right position, or getting enough light. It's like turning a blind eye to it and thinking, I'm not going to do anything about it. But if you want that tree to grow, you're going to make sure it's in the right soil, you're going to give it heaps of love, you're going to water it, and we need to be doing that stuff with ourselves as well. So, you know, understanding the concept of a tree, if that works for you, like the internal dynamics are so important. And there's so many people out in our world and in our social, you know, realities that are just all about external, but then they have the worst internal dynamics. So it really is a time to be really going into your stuff, and especially with the North Node in Cancer, which is about coming home to our feelings, coming home to what we need nurturing. So yes, at this time, it just really is a time of just letting go of the old, especially our internal dynamics, because whatever we do internally will, you know, flow out to what's external. So yes, that's about it. So yes, at this full moon, you know, let go of all the old critical stuff, let go of trying to regulate your life and keep it in a structure, and yeah, not be your potential highest self. So make sure you're, you know, in your highest vibration that you can be in, and, you know, live from your heart. So if you would like a reading from me, please go to the information below, or if you think that this video could help someone, please share it, or just subscribe to my channel. So yes, that'll be it for me. So I hope you all have a fantastic full moon in Virgo and many soul journey blessings.